What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Monday episode of the Bostonian versus the Book. My name is Matt Peralta, and we are live on YouTube and on Twitter X, replayed on Sports Grid Television, audio podcasts, wherever you guys get your audio podcasts. Today, we get into Week 7 of the NFL, and oh my, Shohei Ohtani. It is always fun to do Ohtani Watch, but this is a different type of performance as to what happened on Friday. We have a Game 7 tonight in the American League Championship Series. The Blue Jays, the last time for them was 1985. Seattle has never been in this game in their history. They've never had a Game 7 in the Championship Series. They have also never been to a World Series. So we've got that and two Monday Night Football games to get into today, which is going to be a lot of fun to break down. Lions, yeah, I got you. Lions hat today. I like the Bucks, though, but I like the color. We haven't pulled this baby out. Daniel G sending this. Always appreciate the brigade members that send over hats. Lions in primetime. Had to wear it. But before we get to tonight, got to step back and look at what happened over the weekend. My 5 favorite things is the opening line for a Monday. Sorry, I hit the wrong stinger. That was an intro stinger, not the opening line stinger. Opening line, my 5 favorite things from the weekend. It was hard to get to 5. I'm going to be honest. We could have gone way over. This could have been a 10. This was one of those weekends where there were so many things that were really cool to get into and break down. But number 5, we got to talk about parity. It's now part of college football. Indiana is number 2 in the country. Indiana, the basketball school, is ranked 2nd in the Associated Press poll. And for the first time going back to the 40s, we got to go all the way back to 1947 for when Vanderbilt, yes, the Commodores of Nashville, the doormat of the SEC, the joke of the conference, the automatic W, the conference that normally looked at Vanderbilt as a home road game, meaning when you played at Vanderbilt, that was when if you couldn't get tickets to go to Alabama, to LSU, to Tennessee, to Auburn, to Georgia, if you couldn't afford it or you couldn't get tickets to go watch your team, you went to Vanderbilt. You went to Nashville. Well, why? Because you get tickets. You get good seats. You could see your team. Alabama used to take the stadium over. And then Diego Pavia showed up and said, yeah, that's not going to happen anymore. And we're now here. And we're a problem. Vanderbilt wins. They were favored at home against LSU. Brian Kelly loses on the road to Vandy. You know, it's bad when Bama was number 1 in the country and they lost, but that's called a fluke, right? That just was bad when Tennessee was ranked in the top 20 in the country and they lost. That now LSU ranked in the top 15 in the country and they lost. You know, 1 time is a fluke, 2 times is somewhat of a trend, 3 times is consistency. This Vanderbilt program is no joke. This Vanderbilt program has got people on notice in the college football world, and I love it. I absolutely love it as to what's going on in Nashville at the moment. And Diego Pavia and company, congratulations. What an awesome, awesome win. On the other end of college football, Florida, doing the most Florida of things. The Gators won on Saturday. They won on Saturday. And yet afterwards, they determined that it's now time to fire Billy Napier, effective immediately. That Billy Napier is out after they beat Mississippi State. Not after the loss to Miami, not after the loss to Florida State. No, after the win over Mississippi State. Now we're going to pull the trigger and we're going to fire Billy Napier, and they must pay him now half of his buyout within 30 days. Within 30 days. So who gets this job? All eyes are currently on Lane Kiffin. I'm not buying the James Franklin PR tour that he's currently on. He goes down to game day. I mean, that was a very interesting interview if you watched it and going, didn't you just get fired? And now you're talking about new jobs and like, Game day putting him on, I get it. It's James Franklin. He's a big name coach in college football, but I was very surprised at him just going on that and having that conversation about other jobs while Penn State was still playing. And then Penn State went out and lost on Saturday. Yikes. As the wheels are officially off in Happy Valley. But you look at James Franklin to Florida, and no, I don't see it. I do see Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss for Florida, but that will be the third team that he would coach in the SEC. And it gets a little bit on the, incestuous side here. So Lane Kiffin's going to become the coach of, or was the coach of Tennessee, then Ole Miss, then Florida. I don't know if I am a Florida fan. I care too much that where he coached previously in the conference, but I do think if I'm a Florida, administrator or somebody looking at the future going, okay, what is Lane Kiffin going to do while he is here? And what is our expectations? Because it is to win a national championship. We just paid Billy Napier $20 million to walk out the door. And now we're going to bring in Lane Kiffin, pay his buyout at Ole Miss, and have him be a part of our program going forward. Now, the difference between Ole Miss and Florida is pretty dramatic. Just in-state talent alone, you can win a national championship in the state in college football just by recruiting in-state talent at Florida. So that's how much college football talent is produced every single year in the Gator State. So you have a chance to grab a hold of quite a bit of talent without having to recruit all that often because you're Florida. But Miami is on the rise. Miami right now is doing some big things, and they're throwing around a ton of money. Mario Cristobal, considered not a great coach, but he's had great talent over the last 2 seasons, namely 2 very good quarterbacks in college in Carson Beck this year and Cam Ward last year. So now, if you're going to be reimagining what Florida looks like with Lane Kiffin, it's a lot of money. How much money are the Gator folks willing to spend? According to reports, $100 million. $100 million to get Lane Kiffin and his staff down to Gainesville. Which, look, it shows you the commitment that the Gator fans have to going back to the Tim Tebow era, right? They want the Urban Meyer days back. They're tired of losing. They're tired. I mean, when Billy Napier got the job, it was somewhat of a surprise, right? I mean, he got the job and people were like, wow, that's a reach. And now they want a proven commodity. They want someone who's going to come in and someone who's going to win now. And they want to win now. And I agree, Chef Benny, the best job in America is the fired college football coach. Absolutely. Again, you have to give Billy Napier $10 million in 30 days if you're Florida, according to the buyout. Like, no, like prolong and like, kick it back and we'll pay you over time. Nope. Nope. You have 30 days to pay him $10 million, and you still owe him $10 million after that, by the way. Like, you still owe him $10 million after you give him $10 million between now and Thanksgiving. Then you got to turn around and pay him another 10 at some point with the next installment. And you have to pay the buyout for Lane Kiffin, and you have to pay Lane Kiffin's new salary, and you have to pay Lane Kiffin's staff their buyouts, although not normally buyouts for assistants, but their new salaries, which are not going to be step downs. They're going to be step ups. So the SEC is very interesting because we have multiple jobs now that are going to be open that are big. I mean, Florida and Penn State are the 2 big ones, obviously, right? But LSU folks are already lining up the moving companies for Brian Kelly, and they want Brian Kelly gone. If I am Brian Kelly, I am looking at Penn State and I am jumping to Happy Valley. That's the job. If I'm Brian Kelly, that's the job I want. Go back to a place where you don't have to fake it. Okay. Go back to a place where you're from. Go to the Northeast. Go back to where you don't have to fake an accent to make people like you, and have an administration that will look at your resume as to what you did at Notre Dame and what you did at LSU, and they will somewhat smile upon it favorably. Now, you went to LSU to win a national championship. That did not happen. I don't think anybody expected it to happen, to be quite honest, just given the geography and the history and, frankly, a guy who didn't fit in the Bayou. So now you put him back in Penn State, you put him back in the Northeast where he's from. I mean, his name is Brian Kelly. I mean, he's a Boston Catholic. Like, just go ahead and put this guy in Penn State and see what he's going to go ahead and do. So Penn State doesn't want that. The Big Ten don't want that bump. I mean, who else are you going to get? Matt Rule. I don't think if Matt Rule is going to leave Nebraska. And again, if I'm Penn State, I don't want Matt Rule. I don't want Matt Rule. I take Brian Kelly over Matt Rule every day. 100%. I'm taking him. So the question I've got is whether or not Penn State is going to really be aggressive with a big name, or is Penn State going to take a risk for an up-and-comer? That's what Florida did, right? Florida had an up-and-comer, and Billy Napier, they thought they had the next big thing, okay? Didn't happen. Didn't work, okay? It has worked with guys like Urban Meyer, right? Urban Meyer coming from Boise, going to Utah going on to big things, Ohio State and whatnot. Didn't work so well in the NFL, but, fine. This is a danger when you take somebody who has not coached at a very high level and you put them into a pressure cooker like Penn State or Florida. So these teams are getting a jump on the search. That's why they're making the firings now, because they want to have a good lead up time to do their due diligence. And then once the year is over, they're going to look to make moves when teams get eliminated from the playoffs. LSU most likely is not making the playoffs. I can't see them making the playoffs. So Brian Kelly will have a bowl game that nobody will care about. So the second that their regular season ends and Brian Kelly is either fired or he leaves, he's available right after that. No coach is going to coach in a bowl game that means nothing. We have completely destroyed the bowl system, which I'm not really opposed to be quite honest. I've always thought the bowl system's a little weird. So the playoffs is what matters. Bowls are just nice trips, and kids get to go play an extra game like an AAU tournament or something. Like, hey, go ahead and play one more game. Yay. Put on the uniform, you seniors, whatever. Coaches aren't going to stick around for that. So you can make hires pretty much like right before Christmas. That gives you a good amount of time before you get to the open window for NIL and transfer and the portal and everything else. So I get why Florida, I get why Penn State, and maybe next up will be LSU. They're going to make these choices, make these decisions to fire head coaches and pay them their buyouts in order to get ready for next season. Julie, we want Rule to stay. Iowa fans, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But I mean, if you are a fan of a program that had high expectations this year that have fallen woefully short, and Michigan, I'm looking at you too. I mean, we haven't seen any of the big high profile guys, but Sharon Brown, you might be next. I mean, there's a lot of questions about what's going on here with other Big Ten schools. I mean, whether or not Kirk Ferentz walked away from Iowa, is this it for him? It's going to be a fascinating offseason for everything happening when it comes to college football and coaches. The carousel is going to be going on for quite a while. Number 3, to the NFL we go. Drake May. Holy Christmas for Patriot fans. They have found their next stud quarterback. This is not a fluke. This is not a short-term success train here for Drake May. 21 for 23 for 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, 91.3% completion, over 200 yards and 50 yards rushing. It has never been done before in the NFL. That has never been done before in a professional football game in the National Football League, where a quarterback has completed over 90% of his passes, thrown for over 200 yards, and ran for over 50 yards himself. Oh my. You can say it's the Titans all you want, but this is remarkable. As a Patriot fan, to see what this is doing is insane. In NFL history, over any 6-game span in a single season, having more than 150 passing attempts, completing more than 75% of your passes, having a passer rating over 125, and running for more than 150 yards, there's one quarterback in the history of the NFL over a 6-game span who has done that. That is Drake May. The 91.3% completions, a 20 or more pass attempt game. Tom Brady had the record for the Patriots at 88.5. Drake May just broke that. Just broke that. If we're going to redraft and see what these quarterbacks have done, Drake May is lapping the field right now in terms of what he has done for the 2004 draft class. Yards per attempt, passer rating, EPA per drop back. Drake May is way ahead of Caleb Williams, way ahead of Jaden Daniels, everyone's star and stud from last year. Quarterback rating of 116.5. Look at those numbers. Drake May, 39-yard touchdown pass to Kayshon Boutte, traveled 52.5 yards in the air. That's the second time this year that a ball has been in the air for over 50 yards from Drake May. He is the only quarterback in the NFL with multiple touchdown passes where the ball traveled more than 50 yards in the air. This is an era in which we have seen the dink and the dunk be a gigantic part of the NFL. Not this Patriot offense, not with Drake May. He is throwing a football that is so catchable. It's a weird thing to say because oftentimes, and I was listening to a couple former NFL wideouts talk about this over the weekend, the ball, there are passers and there are throwers, right? A guy who can just throw the football is a big arm quarterback who can just rear back and gun the thing. And there's been plenty of throwers of the football. But if you're a passer of the football, meaning you can throw every single route with different precision. You can throw the deep ball with great touch. You can zip it over the middle if you need to. You can lead a receiver away from trouble if he is running a crossing route. You can throw a corner route over the shoulder and drop it into the bucket. Like Drake May is doing everything. And again, you can talk about level of competition, but this is what quarterback development looks like. This is what you do as you take a step up in competition each week. And Drake May's not going to complete 91.3% of his passes every week, but you do it against a bad defense, and you do it in a game in which your head coach goes back to the place in which he coached. And when he left the field at a rival's building, they're chanting your coach's name. That building was chanting Vrabel on the way off the field yesterday. In the locker room, Drake May gave his head coach what normally he gets as a quarterback, the game ball. He turned around and gave it to Mike Vrabel and said, "We love playing for you, coach. This one was for you." Drake May is doing some incredible things. He is deserving to be in the MVP conversation. The Patriots are the 2 seed in the AFC right now. They're the 2 seed. They're 5-2. They're 5-2. And they have a very good chance of winding up going 6-2 and beyond. The Patriots are 7-point favorites against the Browns coming up this weekend. I loved the Browns this week up against the Dolphins last Sunday. I loved it yesterday. I loved it. Hammered the Browns. 2.5, laid it against the Dolphins. Dolphins are trash. And Dylan Gabriel at home is going to be a much different quarterback than Dylan Gabriel on the road. Patriots will see a tough defense, and I'm not sure if they cover that 7-point number, but the Patriots should win and go to 6-2. They are 1 game behind the Colts for the 1 seed in the AFC. It's amazing what is going on right now with Drake May and the Patriots. Whole team, top to bottom. Yeah. Josh McDaniels is an offensive genius. Yes, but offensive Guinness. I like Guinness. Guinness is an offensive Guinness. Sure. Belichick was the dink and Brady was the dunk. Yeah, in some ways. Sure. But unbelievable. I mean, just what a performance by Drake May. Speaking of performances, well, Ohtani Watch is a pretty good one. Number 2 for my 5 favorite things over the weekend, Ohtani. That was the greatest postseason game ever. Some are calling it the greatest game ever. Single game ever. It's, well, without a doubt, it's the greatest postseason game ever. I don't think there's any question. Ohtani hit 3 home runs, all of them traveling at least 420 feet. One of those things, I don't even know how they're trying to say that the second home run wasn't 500 feet. He hit the ball out of the damn ballpark. He hit it out of the ballpark, literally, not out of the playing field, out of the stadium. out of the stadium. He allowed 2 hits, 6 shutout innings, and 10 Ks. 10 Ks for Shohei Ohtani. I don't think you can even argue. I don't think it's even a conversation. Is it the greatest postseason game ever? Yes. Is it the greatest game ever? It is in my lifetime. I mean, I've never seen anything close to that. I mean, this is Babe Ruth type stuff. Like, I remember hearing stories about pitchers that hit and pitchers that dominated on the mound, like, Cracker Jack time, like back in like the 20s, the 30s, back when, Fenway Park was opening. There's, you can't really see it behind me, but there is a picture of Fenway Park that's from really old, like when it opened, like back then. That's when I used to hear about pitchers that could hit, hitters that could pitch. We're watching something that none of us have ever experienced before. Only 12 hitters have ever hit 3 home runs in a postseason game. Ohtani did that on Friday. Only 26 pitchers have ever recorded a 10 strikeout, 2 or less hit, and no run start in Major League Baseball postseason history. We've been playing baseball for over 120 years. We've only seen 12 hitters and 26 pitchers do those incredible feats in the playoffs. One man did them both in the same freaking game. You run out of adjectives, you run out of superlatives, you run out of things to say watching Ohtani play. One of the joys, I think, of my baseball life is that we are all alive to watch Shohei Ohtani play the game of baseball. There is no comparison. I don't care what you think of Tom Brady. Greatest quarterback of all time, greatest player of all time. Sure, I'll listen to all of that. Tom Brady's not in Ohtani's category. There is nobody in my lifetime. There are some great two-way hockey players that played both great defense and great offense, but none that comes to mind. Like Wayne Gretzky is not in the same category in terms of goal scoring and defense. Ovechkin, Connor McDavid, maybe, but we're not. I mean, these are great players doing incredible things, but they aren't doing what Ohtani is doing. Ohtani would be the quarterback, and he also would be the starting middle linebacker. That's the comparison as to what we're watching here. He can call the defensive plays. He's the most physical player. He's the fastest defender who can guard and cover, sideline to sideline. And he's a quarterback who knows all the plays and has a killer arm and can lead drives and take his team to victory. There's no comparison to this. Deion is great, Vic. I love Deion Sanders. Deion's not doing this. Deion did it from a defensive back position. Ask Travis Hunter, scored his first touchdown of his career. And the only score for the Jags in that disastrous game against the Rams on Sunday. It's not the same thing. Playing a defensive back position, okay? Playing a wide receiver is not quarterback. He is the pitcher. He's the guy that starts the game. Baseball is the only sport in which the defense gets to activate the play. Every other sport, the offense does that, and you're playing defense off of what the offense does. Baseball's different. Baseball goes defensive first. And then at the plate, you're hitting a round ball with a round bat, and guys are throwing 100 miles an hour consistently. Sliders are 95. Sinkers are 100 miles per hour now. It's incredible. And Ohtani is hitting these things to the moon. They swept out the Brewers like they weren't even there. I went to Disneyland on Saturday with my daughter. So Friday night, we go out to dinner, and I'm sitting at dinner, and I'm watching this game with my kid, and I'm watching what Ohtani is doing, and I'm marveling it. And she's like, "Why are you so crazy about this?" And I'm like, "This is ridiculous." Like what we are watching, it's never been done before. And she's asking me all these questions about Ohtani and where he played and, how he went up with the Dodgers and everything else. And the Brewers did nothing in that series. They scored what? 5 runs in 4 games? against the Dodger pitcher. I mean, Dodger pitching was incredible. I I watch Ohtani and I am hard pressed to compare him to anyone. Shaq's not bad. I don't mind that comparison. Shaquille is not bad. Basketball is a different type of sport, but I'll give it to you. He was dominant on both ends of the floor. That is true. And when he was on, he was unstoppable. So yeah, I don't mind that. The Shaq comparison. But Ohtani with baseball, unbelievable. I don't know how in the world. I don't care who. I think that's why I don't care about the ALCS. I think what is Ohtani has literally taken me out of any interest as to who wins tonight in Game 7 because they're both losing. I don't care who plays. Like, I don't care who wins. If it's Seattle or if it's the Blue Jays, congratulations. You are playing for second place tonight. Like, this Dodger team right now, with the way they are playing, I don't care about how long they have to sit. I don't care about the rest. I don't care. Right now, they can't be beat. Right now. Like, right now, they cannot. Will it go 5 games? I don't know. It's a great question. Yeah. Instead of asking who wins, it's how many games will the Mariners or Blue Jays actually win? Like, how many games can they win in the World Series? 1, 2, maybe. I mean, maybe. Oh, that's an awesome question. If you combine Seattle and Toronto, could they beat the Dodgers? That's a great question. It's a good lineup. I mean, Cal Raleigh and Vlad as your 3-4 is pretty damn nasty. The lineup would be pretty good. If you combine the two teams, lineup-wise, they'd be pretty good. But pitching-wise, if you are going to wind up throwing Ohtani, I think you're going to have a tough time. Like, the Dodgers are so loaded that they get to determine whether or not they want to pitch Ohtani. They're like, do we have to throw the guy? I don't know. We may not have to. We could just go ahead and win the World Series without even pitching him. We don't need him. We don't need Ohtani to throw. That's how good things are. That's how dominant we have been. That's how we have destroyed this sport at the moment that are, and Dave Roberts was very adamant about that. Like, they're saying the Dodgers ruined baseball. Let's go get 4 more wins and ruin baseball again. I don't think the Dodgers ruined baseball. I think we have to raise our standards. If you want to compete with the Dodgers, you got to go build a team that can beat the Dodgers. Okay. They spent a ton of money. Absolutely. They've got Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts. They gave Shohei $700 million. Well, guess what? Ohtani basically paid for himself this whole season. Like, really. They're back in the World Series. They won the World Series last year. The international ratings are ridiculous. International gear for Ohtani, everyone's buying it like crazy all over the globe. It's not just a U.S. thing. It's a global thing. So the Dodgers are making money hand over fist with Ohtani. I mean, he's already justified the contract already. So the only thing this guy did was he liked to gamble and he had to hide it. That's the only thing he had to do. Yeah. Use your worst starter when Ohtani is on the mound. Probably. Yeah. Oh, Eric, you as an Angel fan, it hurts, right? Any Ohtani talk's got to hurt as an Angel fan. The loser remains the Angels with Shohei, possibly Vlad Jr. in the World Series. Yeah, it's tough, right? You guys had it. You had Trout. You had Shohei on the same team. Think about that. They had Shohei and Trout on the same team, and they weren't able to do anything with it. Finally, number one thing that I saw, my favorite thing over the weekend, the Broncos comeback versus the Giants. How did that happen? How did that happen? I'm watching. Okay, so I have a teaser on the Broncos. Patriots to -1 and the Broncos to -1. I'm like, dang it, writing that off. The loss. Son of a gun. So you're going, all right, how in the world are we going to get this? Could it possibly happen? Is it possible? The Broncos scored 33 points in the fourth quarter. 33 points in the fourth quarter. Demaryius Thomas was inducted into the Denver Ring of Honor. Peyton Manning was crying talking about this, that Thomas's name was going to be next to his on the Ring of Honor in Denver. That's how much this guy has meant to him in Denver. Now, I always think of Peyton as a Colt, but obviously he won 2 Super Bowls with Denver. So there's a lot of history and a lot of love there with Denver and Peyton Manning. or two, or one. Sorry, one Super Bowl with Denver. Sorry, one, not two. One Denver, one Super Bowl with Denver. Demaryius Thomas passed away at the age of 33. Like, that's some wild stuff right there. That's some crazy universe type stuff with this. But the Giants are a bad football team. But the Giants are also the victim of their own success in some ways, because people think that Jackson Dart's going to solve everything. And the coach is still Brian Daboll. And when you see how that game was done and what happened in that game and where the game was lost and just the mistakes that were being made. Again, I was on Twitter or X, I was having a meltdown at the way that game was being refereed, because that pass interference call, I mean, it was ridiculous at the goal line. And I thought that was the game winner. Jackson Dart scores touchdowns, and they wound up going up by 2 points with the extra point pending. And then the kid misses the extra point, his second missed extra point for the game. And there's 30 seconds left. And you're like, Bo Nix with 30 seconds left, no timeouts. Can they really do this? Can they really get into field goal range? Now, it's mile high, so it's probably going to be like a 60-yard field goal. Can they make it? Yeah, probably. Let's see if they can make it. But can they even get into field goal range to make it a possibility? They went down the field like that. That was nothing. Like, that was like 1, 2, 3 field goal range. Like, it was 3 passes from Bo Nix. Like, I was like, are the Giants going to play defense at all? Like, they were exhausted. That's where the altitude, like, the Giants had nothing left in their tank. They were absolutely gassed. And the Broncos went right down the field, kicked the game winner. And I have said this all summer long. I do not believe that Brian Daboll will survive this season as the head coach of the Giants. I said it in July. I said it in August. I said it in September. I'm saying it now in October, that Brian Daboll will not make it to the end of the regular season as the coach of the Giants. They are now 2-5 on the year. And that was a game that they had to have. That was a game that, if you are a football fan, you're thinking to yourself, okay, only, the coaches are the only way that you blow this, right? With bad decisions and bad defensive game plans and calls and everything else. How did you lose that game, New York? Like, how in the world? Yeah, he should have been fired this morning. I'm waiting for it, Kevin. I am. I'm waiting for the fact. I think the angle that the Mara family is going to have to take with this is, okay, if you fire Brian Daboll, what does that do to Jackson Dart in his development? Because Jackson Dart is going to be the quarterback of the future. Okay. Like, that's who Jackson Dart is. He is the Giants quarterback for at least the next 2 years. So Brian Daboll was supposed to be the quarterback whisperer. That's why you brought in 3 quarterbacks, right? You brought in Jackson Dart, Jameis Winston, and Russell Wilson. So, you bench Russ, you bring in Jackson Dart. He wins 2 home games, but he's now 0-2 on the road. He's winning home games, which is, rookies play better at home, obviously. When they go on the road, things get much more difficult. And the Giants now have to go play on the road against the Eagles. Are the Giants winning that game? No. They'll be 2-6. Then they're home for the 49ers. And the 49ers my gosh, look what the 49ers are doing. That win last night was, I was stunned at that. I would have taken the Falcons. I didn't touch that game for a reason. I was like, I don't want no part of that game. Huge win for the 49ers. So that's not an automatic win. Niners can go east and beat the Giants. So if that's the case, now you're 2-7. You're on the road at the Bears, a game you think you're going to win. But again, rookie quarterback on the road, And the Packers at home, loss. At the Lions, loss. At the Patriots, loss. Commanders at home, good luck. Vikings at home. You get a little bit of a reprieve with the Raiders on the road here in December before Christmas. Man, our friends at Circa were all excited about that, because they thought that a huge number of Giant fans were going to make the trek out for that game right before Christmas, that they thought that could be like a chance if the Giants were good, that a lot of no one's coming. No one. Before Christmas, no one's coming. No Giant fan is being like, yay, let's go. Let's go to Vegas to go watch a Raiders team that is a garbage fire at the moment. And then you're going to go and watch your team that might have 3 wins? No. Again, I'm on under 5.5. I'm still on under 5.5 for the Giants. I don't think they win 6 games. They have 2. I don't think they win 4 more. And I don't know when Brian Daboll gets fired, but I think it happens relatively soon for that. So that Broncos number one thing from the weekend, the Broncos, what an absolutely incredible performance by Denver to win that game. But there were more games to break down from yesterday. So let's get into it with some other games that happened. The Chiefs scored 31 points, had 30 first downs. The Raiders had no points, and they ran 30 plays the entire game. That was the most embarrassing performance of 2025. Now, the Chiefs are good again, okay? The Chiefs are good again. The Chiefs have their mojo. They have their moxie. The offense is good. The defense is feeding off of it. The Chiefs are going to be a problem. They're 4-3. The Chargers are going in reverse. And so you talk about where Denver is. Denver currently at 5-2. Denver having a chance to keep themselves ahead of the Chiefs, but the race is on. Okay. So betting KC to win the division, I think it's a good play. Looking at them to win the AFC, not a bad bet at all. This is going to be a very interesting month or two for Kansas City as they continue to develop and get more healthy and start to put their offense back into place. It is Andy Reid after all. Okay. Even Travis Kelce had a big game yesterday, but that's the Raiders. Okay. That's the Raiders. The big conversation after this game is not what KC did. Okay. Again, I said it going into the Patriot game. The Patriots went and had a blowout victory against the Saints. That's what you're supposed to do to bad teams. They went on the road, had a blowout victory against the Titans. That's what you're supposed to do. The Chiefs are supposed to do this to the Raiders. Good teams are supposed to kill bad teams. But the bigger story is what happens here in Vegas with the Raiders. Because so far, Pete Carroll has been an absolute disaster. I mean, a fundamental disaster as a head coach here. This team is showing no signs of improvement. They are showing no signs of development. And Geno Smith could not do anything yesterday. Ashton Jeanty is getting all the blame. There are so many people that are saying, well, that's what you get for drafting a running back in the top 10. I don't think it has anything to do with Ashton Jeanty. I don't think the Raiders are one player away from being a competitive football team. I don't blame Chip Kelly. I don't blame the defense. I don't blame Max Crosby. It has to be on Pete Carroll. It has to be on the head coach. Your job is to develop these players. And maybe we shouldn't be hiring 73-year-old head coaches to come in to try to restart a franchise who hasn't been good since Chucky in the early 2000s. When were the Raiders actually a relevant, good football team? I mean, they had a couple of sparks a little bit. Once in a while, Derek Carr had them competitive. They made the playoffs, but they weren't like a Super Bowl contending team. They never were. In my lifetime, I've never looked at this Raider franchise and been in fear of their team over a long period of time. On a week-by-week basis, sure. Even month-by-month basis, sure. But that consistent level of success that you have seen from the Chiefs, the Patriots, the Cowboys, the franchises that have incredible name recognition, like the Raiders. The Raiders have incredible name recognition, okay? But here in town, I can tell you that it's more of an Aces town right now than it is a Raiders town. I mean, the Aces have won 3 championships in 4 years. So you can't say it's all the owner. Say Mark Davis has no clue what he's doing. Mark Davis's basketball team is the best WNBA team of all time. They are the dominant dynasty of the W, okay? And it's been under his watch. He bought the team, moved the team here. They're 3 out of 4. Okay. He's the best coach, best player in the WNBA. His football team can't get a first down to save their life. Football team can't move the football against anybody. And as a Raider fan, I think you have to be really concerned about where this season goes because the Raiders could be playing, for the first pick in the draft in April. It's very possible. The Raiders are an absolute disaster. And they did not draft a quarterback. They instead brought in Geno Smith, thinking that Geno Smith was going to fix things. And he has done the absolute opposite. He's a walking turnover. He can't stop throwing interceptions. He can't throw to open receivers. Jacoby Myers needs to be traded out of there immediately. Brock Bowers hasn't been healthy. I get that. That's been a big problem for this Raiders team. But the offensive line hasn't been good. The defense in the secondary hasn't been good. I mean, if you're trying to tank, it's going to be there. I mean, they play the Jaguars at home this week. No one's going to that game here in Vegas. Then they're at the Broncos, home for the Cowboys, home for the Browns, at the Chargers, home for the Broncos, at the Eagles, at the Texans, home for the Giants, home for the Chiefs. You tell me how many wins are in there. 2? Maybe? They got 2 wins right now. If they go 4-13, they're in the conversation for the first pick in the draft. And they might wind up going 3-14, which is possible. I mean, 100% I would be tanking for a quarterback if I was the Raiders, but I wouldn't let Pete Carroll do it. I know you don't want to fire a coach after 1 year. I know that becomes a problem, and it's an everlasting cycle that you get yourself into. But Pete Carroll ain't it, man. He's a great personality. He should be doing TV. Him and Belichick should be doing television in their 70s, not coaching. No, it's a mistake. It was a mistake to hire him. It was a mistake to sign Geno Smith. It was a mistake to draft or to trade for Kenny Pickett. Like, they have nothing in that room. They have nothing to go to. You would say, play the backup. He can't be worse than Geno Smith. Like hell he can't. Yeah, he could. It's Kenny Pickett. Yes, Kenny Pickett can be worse than Geno Smith. So what are you doing? Like, this market is so into the Golden Knights. The Golden Knights have won 4 games in a row. They got a big game tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes. You want to talk about what's the barbershop conversation today? What's the conversation at the bar today? What's the sportsbook conversation going on in Vegas? The Golden Knights got nothing. The Raiders are an afterthought in this market, and it's football. It's NFL football. You only play 8 or 9 home games all year. They got a home game this year against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Good seats will still be available because they're all overpriced. No one's paying $250 to go watch that dumpster fire of a football team with a head coach that just runs around and looks like he's lost. I mean, Pete Carroll, again, had a great run with the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll, with my team, with the Patriots, sucked. And Bill Belichick replaced him, and the Patriots went into a dynasty. Okay? This is Pete Carroll in New England that we are seeing, not Pete Carroll in Seattle. And he's ruining all the good memories that people had about Pete Carroll and what he did with that Seahawks team, playing for 2 Super Bowls, winning 1. Should have won 2. If he gave the ball to Marshawn Lynch, he's got 2. Instead, he passed it, and the greatest individual play in the history of the Super Bowl happens with Malcolm Butler. And a pick that I still can't believe happened in the biggest game, in the biggest moments, because he wanted Russ to get a passing touchdown to win the Super Bowl. It's been downhill since then. It's been all downhill. I wouldn't go for free. Yep. So bad. I mean, so bad for what's going on right now. The Cowboys, they hang 44 points on the Commanders. Dallas is now 3-3-1 on the year. My bet is still live. I don't feel great about it, given I thought the Eagles would lose to the Vikings. I thought we would have an opportunity to be talking about the Eagles and the Cowboys being nearly tied. But 4-3 Eagles to 3-3-1 Dallas is a different conversation than a 5-2 Eagles team and a 3-3-1 Cowboys team. But I was right about the Commanders. They're 3-4. I was right about the Giants. They're 2-5. So it's a 2-team race. And I mean, I'll give credit where credit is due. Hell of a call by the Eagles on that 3rd and short to ice the game, to throw the fly pattern to AJ Brown to beat the Vikings. Like, that was a hell of a throw and catch. Impressive play, really impressive moment in the season for the Eagles to get that W. Big time win. And frankly, the pick six for Carson Wentz is why that game went down the way it did. That was the difference in the game was the Carson Wentz pick six, which Eagle fans are like, we've seen that story before. A lot of fans have. Rams, my number 5 team last week. We'll do tomorrow my top 5 rankings, but I don't think it's going to change all that much for top 5 teams in the NFL after what's going to happen tonight. But Rams blasted the Jaguars 35-7. That was a team. Look at Sean McVay on the road as a 4-point favorite or higher, even 3-point favorite or higher, is an automatic fire. Okay. The Rams are favored on the road. Hammer the Rams. They win the game 17-3 on the road the week before London. They go to London. They look even better without Puka Nacua. They win the game 35-7, and the Jaguars looked lost. Trevor Lawrence looks like a clipboard is in his future very soon in the NFL. He'll be a hell of a backup, but I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL for much longer because that performance was ugly. And McVay coached circles around Liam Cohen. They were never in that football game. They were never, ever, ever in that football game. The Colts, my number 1 team last week, and will be my number 1 team this week, winning by double digits against the Chargers. The Colts are 6-1 on the year. They are the number 1 seed in the AFC. If the Bucs win tonight, they'll go to 6-1. But if they don't, which they are dogs to the Lions to do that, they will be the only team with 1 loss left in the NFL. And the Colts could have had, there were 2 games that had swing plays. One went their way, one went against them. But again, if both those plays had gone their way, if they'd beaten the Rams, they would be 7-0. They are 5-0 in the AFC. Colts have beaten every team in the AFC that they have played. They have a plus 92 point differential. The next closest team is the KC Chiefs at plus 62 point differential. It's not just the offense. It's not just Daniel Jones. It's not just Jonathan Taylor. Their defense is playing really, really well. I mean, by comparison, the Patriots are plus 48 with both after both their blowout wins in the last 2 weeks. From an NFC perspective, you've got a plus 58 for the Rams point differential. That leaves the NFC. You've got a bunch of teams that are in the plus or more. There are more NFC teams that have a plus point differential than AFC teams that have a plus point differential. But a lot of them are like 14, 10, 16, 5. Nothing like what we're seeing with the Colts. 92 point differential. It's really, really impressive right now for what the Colts are doing. And can we all agree that the Chargers should never wear those yellow banana uniforms ever again? What? Did you guys watch that game? What was that? Like, I get it. Like, you're trying to go for gold, but on TV, it did not come off as gold. It looked awful. Like, I turned it on. I'm like, what sport am I watching? Like, this is unbelievable. Somebody in the chat was asking who's the worst team in football. Worst team in football are the Jets. They're 0-7, and they lost to the Panthers at home. To give you an idea of just how embarrassing that is for the New York Jets to lose at home to the Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young was 1-15 straight up on the road before that game. The Jets are so mad. Aaron Glenn won't name a starting quarterback for next week. It's either Tyrod Taylor or it's going to be Justin Fields. It does not matter. It does not matter who the Jets are going to play. They're 0-7. The quarterback's not the problem. It's everybody. They're on the road against the Bengals. Joe Flacco and the Bengals. That's a loss. Bengals are going to beat the Jets next week. Then you have a home game against the Browns, which you hope to win that game. Then you play the Patriots and the Ravens on the road. Good luck. Falcons at home, Dolphins at home. We'll see what they look like. At the Jaguars and at the Saints. Okay, maybe they get a couple of wins there potentially. I don't think they go 0-17. I don't think that's the case. But how many wins will the Jets wind up with? 3, 2, 2-15 in Aaron Glenn's first year as the head coach? Does he last to year 2? I don't know. I don't know. The state of New York football is hysterical. Like, it is fan freaking tastic to watch the state of New York football at the moment. It is embarrassing on so many levels right now. They can't wait to get to the NBA season. They cannot wait. The Rangers suck again, so there's nothing for hockey. The Knicks better be good. The Knicks better be what everyone thinks the Knicks are going to be. Mike Brown better have that team ready to go. The Knicks better be the best team in the East, because when Jason Tatum comes back, you boys are cooked, and you know it. So you guys better get as many wins as you possibly can get to try to get home court, because when Tatum comes back, you're in deep trouble. Like, you're just in deep trouble. Have you seen the way the Celtics are playing defense, by the way? I can't wait to get into the NBA. The Celtics are going to beat the living shit out of everyone they play. Joe Mazzulla is going to go cuckoo nuts this year. Watch the defense for the Celtics this year. They're going to go back to the Pistons. They're going to foul out like 5 guys. Like, everyone's going to foul out. They're going to use all of their fouls. Like, Joe Mazzulla is like, we got 6 fouls. Use them every damn one, guys. Use them all. Like, the Celtics are going to be so physical now without Jason Tatum. Joe Mazzulla has been unleashed. I cannot wait to watch the way Boston plays this year. It's going to be throwback. I'm telling you right now, it's what, the 20th of October? The headlines, like, come mid-November, are going to be like, oh no, Celtics roll back the clock. Boston playing like the bad boy Pistons era. Like, that's what Boston is expected to look like defensively. They're going to maul people. They're gonna straight up maul people, and I am here for it. I cannot wait to watch it, to see how it all plays out. But the Jets stink. The Browns, I was all over Cleveland. They crushed the Dolphins. We haven't seen it. I thought Mike McDaniel would be fired before the show today. To be completely honest, I thought Mike McDaniel was gonna get fired, and that didn't happen. I was surprised at that. So when does it happen? I don't know. But the Dolphins are, I mean, look at the division. Look at the AFC East. The Bills are still the Bills, okay? And we're kind of overreacting a bit, and I'm overreacting a bit on Buffalo. But the Bills aren't what we thought they were going to be. Like, they got big problems. They can't stop the run. Their defense isn't very good. The Dolphins and the Jets suck. Like, they're just awful. Like, you get curb stomped by the Browns. Like, it's one thing to lose at Cleveland. It's a different story to lose 31-6. Like, 31-6. You're not even competitive. Like, the post-game press conference from Mike McDaniel was horrible. He was staggering and stammering and just didn't look confident, didn't look like he wanted to be there. Bad. A lot of bad vibes going on right now. All right, tonight we got Game 7. Blue Jays force a Game 7 with a 6-2 win over Seattle. Vlad goes deep again. He's got 6 home runs here in the postseason. Toronto was rocking last night. I mean, Rogers Center was just on fire. So I would expect the same atmosphere here tonight. I mean, this is why you play the entire regular season. You play the whole year to host this game tonight against Seattle. It's the first time since 1985 that Toronto will play in a ALCS Game 7. The Royals beat them in 85 on their way to their championship. Seattle has never been in this spot. This is a crazy night for Seattle. You go baseball into football tonight. Like, this is pretty neat. The entire sports world is revolving around Seattle. 5:10 Seattle time, first pitch for Game 7. And then kickoff is at 7 p.m. Pacific time for the Seattle Seahawks against the Houston Texans. Cry me a river, East Coast people. Okay? Save the tweets. Save the texts. We know it's really late to kick off at 10 p.m. Don't care. I don't care. I love the fact that we actually have a 7 o'clock game here on the West Coast for football. It's great. So I can watch the entire first game, and then we can watch the second game, which I'm super excited to watch, and I'm super excited and interested to see how these games are going to get played. But we can watch them all individually, basically. I mean, baseball is going up against football, which is not great, but it's a Game 7, so you have to be watching it, at least on a second screen. You have to be watching it. Yes, it could be very distressing for Seattle, But how fun is that, though? I mean, if you're, the Kraken play too. Good job, KP. Yeah, but no one cares about hockey there. Come on now. That's that. Yeah, can't do that. It's all hands on deck. It's a game 7. The best thing in sports, game 7. Baseball, oh my. But like, again, I wish that we were playing for a World Series bid where one of these two teams would have a chance to actually win the World Series. You cannot convince me that one of these two teams, whoever wins tonight, has a legitimate opportunity to beat the Dodgers in a 7-game series. I don't see it. One team has Ohtani, the other team doesn't. Like, it's going to come down to that. Until we figure out how to build a team that can contend with this Dodgers franchise, injuries might be the only thing that can stop this team. Because talent-wise, yikes. Oh my, with what's going on with the Dodgers. We've got the Bucs and the Lions. Number is now 6. Total is 53. Creeping up. Baker Mayfield as a dog is 16-8 with the Bucs. You want to fade Baker tonight? Okay. Be careful. Although, Dan Campbell and Jared Goff at night never lost. They are 9-0 at night together. Jared Goff's at home. Jared Goff's in a dome. The Bucs defense is banged up. The Bucs offense is getting healthy, but the Lions defense is banged up. Secondary is a problem. So you've got Mike Evans coming back. Obuka's going to play. So you've got the weapons there for Baker Mayfield. And you got Baker. And you have Jared Goff. And you have Amon St. Brown. And you have the running game. And the offensive line. At home. Points. Not sure who wins. Points. Points. The second game is going to be interesting because Seattle is going to be, I think, I don't know. Does the baseball game impact the environment at the football game? I don't know. I don't think so, but it might, right? If you're watching the game on your phone, right? And you're watching Seattle and you're watching this and you're watching and like, say game 7 goes like completely haywire, like goes completely against you. And the Mariners get their asses kicked tonight. It's like 7-0 in the 3rd inning. The Blue Jays are running away with it. Like, you're there to cheer on the Seahawks, but like, how do you not have some level of like a hangover? Like you got to have like some type of like thing going on. You're like, oh, like that stinks. So I'll be very curious. Yeah, there's our Seattle guy. M's and Hawks. You guys got a big night on tap. Big night. I mean, again, or if you lose like a heartbreaker, if everybody's watching, like I'll never forget when I was at Amanda, Madeline, and I were at the UNLV Boise State game last year. And the Dodgers were playing in a playoff game. And I think it was when Ohtani hit a walk-off home run in the postseason. I forget who hit it, but who was against, which team it was against. But like, the eruption from the crowd was crazy. Like, you could tell everyone was watching the game on their phone while they were at the football game. And so they're watching baseball, and then Ohtani hits it, and this whole, like, everyone goes nuts because we're basically a Dodger town here in Vegas. So I was like, what just happened? I remember asking Amanda, I was like, what happened? Because the roar was so loud, but it was during a timeout. There was nothing happening on the football field. So I thought something bad had happened inside the stadium. And I was looking around, and then a guy stood up and said, Dodgers, baby. And I was like, oh. And then I went and looked, and I saw it on Twitter that Ohtani had hit a walk-off home run. What happens if, like, the Blue Jays win like that? It's a walk-off home run in game 7. Like, what's that environment going to be like at the football game? Like, that could be like, yeah, this is an awesome night to be at a bar. 100%. This is go to a sports book, go to a bar, go out and watch sports tonight. Absolutely. Awesome game to watch sports. Great Monday night. Awesome. Get the buddies and head on out and do that. Cause these are really, really fun nights. Game 7, 2 Monday night football games. a decent hockey game we'll talk about here in a second. But before we get to that, if you guys are watching on the replay on Sports Grid, thank you for being here. We appreciate each and every one of you guys watching. If you're listening to the audio or watching live on YouTube and or on Twitter X, don't move. More to come. More breakdowns and bets and picks and plays for tonight during bonus time. There is one hockey game. It's here in Vegas, actually. Carolina's won 5 straight. Vegas has not lost in regulation yet. Hurricanes at the Golden Knights. It's basically a pick'em game tonight. Minus 115. This is one of those games where, like, if you have a ticket to this game, you're like, fuck. I bought this ticket. I want to go to this game. This game is so good. I really, really want to be a part of this. But I have a game 7. I have 2 football games. I've got a lot of really good stuff going on. My God, I really do want this. I want this opportunity. I want to watch this hockey game because I'm a big Golden Knights fan or whatever. And it kind of sucks that you're like, son of a gun. You can't do what you want to do because, well, you bought the ticket and, you want to do that. So brutal, absolutely, completely brutal, but should be a good game. If you're going to the game, this is a good game. If you're bored by baseball and bored by football tonight, this is a good game to watch late night tonight. Carolina at Vegas tonight should be a lot of fun. All right. How are we betting tonight? Let me tell you. Oh, Carolina first goal at minus 106. Isn't that hard? Bet first goal though, Addison. Do they score quickly? Is that like their trend that the Hurricanes are scoring first? I mean, they've won 5 games in a row. So is that what they're doing? They're scoring quickly. So we're not going with goal in the first 5 or goal in the first 10. We're going first goal for Carolina. Interesting markets that you bet. Addison's always great for finding very unique nuggets for us to bet on in hockey. So if you like that, he likes first goal for Carolina tonight. All right, just the picks. I don't know how you're not betting the over in this game. Okay, like this is just, there are certain games in which it's just a principal play, and frankly, that's exactly what it was for the Cowboy game yesterday. That was simply just a principal play, and this is the same thing. It's just a principal play. I think there are opportunities to bet unders in certain games, but why in the world would you bet unders when you have 2 teams that are both averaging over 27 points per game, like we do tonight? Action Network pointed this out. 2 teams averaging 27 or more points per game with a total of 50, 53 or higher, which we are. Week 7 or later. We've only seen 3 of those games over the last 4 years. They all involved the Lions. No shock. 2 went over, and Detroit has lost all 3 of those games outright. Those 3 games have combined for an average score of 60 points, which would put us over 52.5 here tonight. Not saying the Lions are going to lose. I just think we're getting both teams scoring a bunch of points tonight. This game, I think, flies over. I do want to tease this game, however, to the Bucks plus 12. I don't think they get blown out. It's Baker. I don't think Baker gets destroyed. He may lose. They may lose the game by 7, but I don't think they lose the game by more than that. Baker Mayfield has thrown for 2 or more touchdowns in 11 of his last 12 games, including 8 straight primetime games in which he has thrown for 2 touchdowns or more. It's pretty impressive. Since bringing in Baker Mayfield in 2023, the Bucs are 26-17 to the over for their team total. That's amazing. Over 500 in all 3 years that Baker Mayfield has been the quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker is 16-8 against the spread as a dog. And when Baker starts, the Bucs are 22-2 in a 6-point teaser when they are listed as dogs. 22-2, you have my attention. Bucs plus 12, over 46.5. Would be very surprised if this game is not high scoring between these 2 teams. Seattle, I'm laying the 3. Look I have a bad history. And I always laugh because I hear Dave's voice whenever I bet against the Texans. And he's like, you suck against the Texans. He's absolutely right. Texans are a team I just don't do well up against. The Texans have not been great. this year. However, when you have the ultimate bye, meaning you are not playing 1 week and then you play Monday night, so you have 15 days off, teams with that much rest are 20-11 against the spread when they're on the road, dating back to 2003. It's pretty good. Okay. It's pretty good. However, Sam Darnold, how about this? When facing a defense that gives up fewer than 20 points per game, Sam Darnold since 2019 is 14-4 straight up. He likes playing against good defenses. His losses straight up were to Goff, Brady, Lamar, and Phillip Rivers. Sorry, CJ Stroud's not in that conversation. I like Seattle tonight. I like their defense. I think they play well. I like Darnold. I like Jackson Smith and Jigba to keep on keeping on. Number one wide receiver now in the NFL, yardage wise. I think that continues. He's got a big game. Give me Seattle. I'll lay the 3 points. But Mike McDonald, dude, like start winning games at home. He's unbelievable on the road. He's 10-1 on the road. At home, he's 4-8. Straight up. 4-8 at home with that home field with the 12th man and all that. Like, what's going on? That's, I don't know. The only coach that was worse in the NFL, the only one worse was Brian Callahan. And that dude got fired for not winning games at home. Like, come on, man. Let's go. Start winning games at home. It starts tonight. Start winning games at home. Seattle -3 for that. Let's give you a prop bet for it. All right, BVB prop bet of the day here. We've been pretty good with this. I'm going with Baker Mayfield, and we're going to go with Baker for under 33.5 passing attempts. Now, here's the philosophy, the thought on this, okay? Even though I like the over and I like points, I like big plays. When you have big plays, fewer attempts, okay? So he has gone under this number of 33.5 the last 2 games against San Francisco and against Seattle. And in that Seattle game, he threw 33 times. The number was 33.5. So he just barely went under, but he went under. And that was a high-scoring blowout 38-35 game. I mean, up and down to begin. And very well, we could see a very similar 38-35 type game tonight for the Lions, and the Bucs. He went over against Philly. He went over against Houston, but under against Atlanta and under against the Jets. So far here through 6 games, he's 2-4 or 4-2 to the under here. I just think 33.5 is too many passes. It's too many. And I think we could see, again, big plays, big chunk plays. Thus, we're not dealing with, 10 play drives. We're talking scoring in 2-3 drives. So 2-3 play drives. So to me, I think we see quick scores, big plays, and thus Baker's being asked to throw the ball 35 times, 34 times tonight. I'll play the under 33.5 passing attempts, 4-2 so far in this number, under 33.5. Let's make it 5-2 tonight for the Bucs here with Baker Mayfield. So, all right. I have a quick thing. Yeah. So we can do, what do I want to do here with this? Yeah. Okay. We'll save that. I got a topic we can save for tomorrow. We'll save the news in the industry for tomorrow. Later in the week, I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to do this, but, there are 2 writers for the New York Times that have contacted me about wanting to come on the show to talk about Kalshi, and we're efforting to try to put them on either Wednesday or Thursday. I'm not sure when. We're talking to Adam Bjorn, so we got to see what day Adam is going to be on, and we'll kind of figure out a time to get those guys on because they have written a really big article about Kalshi and sports betting, and so they know we've talked about this topic quite a bit. So we'll save the news of the industry for tomorrow and get into that, but they're hopefully going to come on either Wednesday or tomorrow or at some point during the week. We'll talk to 2 writers from the New York Times about Kalshi and about their investigation into what they are finding with prediction markets and that. So that was pretty fun to see them reach out to me and say, hey, we wrote this article. We know you talk about this topic a lot. We want to come on. There was a little bit of a controversy over the weekend involving me and Kalshi. I guess you could say that because I went at Tariq Mansour, who is the CEO, for something he wrote on LinkedIn. And I can just say this. I can no longer see the very post I made on my own LinkedIn. It's gone. I don't know where it is. I can't see it. It's not listed on my posts. It's gone. Other people are telling me they can still see it, but I don't know what LinkedIn did. Did they shadow ban it? Did they kick it out? I got nothing from an email perspective from LinkedIn saying I violated any of their rules. All I did was Tariq Mansour is claiming that Kalshi is a movement. And I just said to him, it is not a movement. You are trying to pay influencers to promote your product. They tried to pay me. I said, no, thank you. I'm not interested in promoting Kalshi. I'm not anti-prediction market. I am anti-Kalshi because of how they're doing it and the way they're doing it and the fact that they are losing court battles nearly every day now. They lost 2 battles on Friday. They're going to lose a battle in Nevada today. Like, the walls are closing in, so Kalshi's going to try their hardest to fight back and, you know, try to convince enough young men that this is the way we're supposed to be doing this and this is the way we're supposed to be betting. So yeah, I think it's gone. I think it's gone. I mean, I think my post is gone, and it would make sense because LinkedIn spends money, or Kalshi spends money with LinkedIn. So, you know, okay, you see it. Okay, you do see it. Okay, good. I can't see it. It's off my page, but I did. Those are my words. It's so weird for a gambling brand. You want to take bets? Take bets. So I don't know. It's weird. I don't know what some people were saying. It was a glitch. Some were saying it's just what LinkedIn does. It's part of their, you know, their AI is messed up and things happen. I don't know, but I can't see it. It's gone, and I'm the author of it. So I don't know, but I wrote that. I got a bunch of text messages from people in the industry that were like, thank you for posting that. There's a lot of people who are really angry, who can't speak publicly about what's going on with Kalshi. And, you know, and some people are asking me, why do you care so much? You know, they could be an advertiser for you. And absolutely, they could be an advertiser for me, and they could keep this show afloat. But I want to be doing business with the friends that we have done business with. And those are people who have done it the right way. And those people who have gone and spent millions to do it the right way, rather than have somebody come in and call themselves sports gambling and then not have to do the same things that they had to do. The licensing, the background checks, the KYC, all the investments that were made, all the fees and taxes that were paid, all the things that have gone on in sports gambling. So I don't, while prediction markets can be tremendous, if it's legalized and it's proven to be legal, it could be tremendous to a brand like Sport Trade and Alex Kane. But Alex Kane came on this very show and said, I'm not going to, lie to you guys. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to sit here and tell you the truth. And the truth is, it's gambling by another name. And Kalshi had to then change it and say, okay, it is gambling by another name, but we don't feel like we have to be policed by anybody besides the CFTC. We don't answer to you, Mass, Maryland, Nevada. None of you. Go away. New Jersey. Go away. We don't have to listen to any of you. So that's always been my problem. That sticking your thumb in someone's eye or peeing on them and telling them it's raining. I'm just not interested. I'm just not interested personally on all of that. Favorite thing about today. My favorite thing about today is a lesson that I relearned over the weekend. Spend the money. Spend the money on experiential things. So I had a chance to take my daughter to Disneyland for Halloween. And Jack and Sally from A Nightmare Before Christmas, that is Madeline's favorite movie. That is why she loves Halloween. She got deeply into it after watching it when she was about 5 years old. And now she's 11 and she's still very much into it. And while it was not a cheap day, I did it for one day. We drove over Friday night. We went to Disney on Saturday. I don't know how many. I think we ended up walking 17,000 steps on Saturday, crisscrossing our way through Disney and going to just awesome, awesome times. And the 4 hours in the car there and the 4 hours in the car back, sure, that's a lot. And the gas, and that's a lot. And the hotel, and that's a lot. And the tickets of yes, I understand all of it. But you don't have to go to Disney. But so often I think as parents, we're concerned about the rainy day. We're concerned about, I have to make sure everything's going to be okay. And you might not go and do those things that may be stretching the wallet or stretching the budget a bit, but it is so worth it to do it. The memories, the conversations, it was one of the best. It was one of the best days I've had in a very long time to be able to do that with Maddie and to be over there and just the two of us. And I was really happy that we were able to do that. And given the wake of everything, it was the first time I felt myself to be light in a long time. Like there has just been a lot of heavy shit on me for the last 3 months. And you go to a place like Disneyland and it lets you just kind of disconnect from the world for a couple of hours and you're just able to relax and you're just able to just kind of just be in the moment around imaginary people and around characters and, you know, watching my daughter have conversations with Iron Man and conversations with different Star Wars characters, the Mandalorian and different things like that. It just, you know, she had like a 5-minute conversation with Jack and Sally. Like she, you know, she just had a huge conversation with them. So, you know, if you can do it, forget the dollars, spend the money. The memories are worth it. The memories are there. You can't put a price tag on it, and you can't put a price tag on the feelings that you'll experience. And that's why you know, if you want to know why Disney is $1 billion and one of the biggest brands ever created by human beings, that's why. Because as parents, you know, money will come and go. We can always replace it in some form or fashion, right? We'll always find some way to make it work, to make ends meet. But in that one day, in that one moment, and I don't know how parents do that for 7 days. I don't know how in the hell they could do that. You know, yeah, money comes and goes, but memories are forever. Well, it was one day. It was just one day. But the smile on my kid's face, I would have paid double what I paid to get that, to have that experience. So favorite thing about today is just getting to relive the weekend and just having a ball with my kid. And remember, you can tape everything. I watched everything. I came home and watched the Alabama-Tennessee game, start to finish. It was great. I didn't look at the score, nothing. I watched the whole game when we got home. We got back at about 9:00 Pacific time, and I watched the whole game. It was awesome. So I saw the whole thing, saw the pick 6 for Alabama against Tennessee, all that. I mean, I watched all the games. You can tape everything. So, you know, I reminded myself of that a little bit over the weekend. So guys, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. We are back tomorrow, 1:00 Eastern time for a Tuesday's episode. We'll recap both Monday night football games. Let's see if we get a lot of points in the first game and go Seahawks in the second game for game 7. I've got no idea. I really don't. I lean Blue Jays, but I have no idea. Mariners might get timely hitting and make their first ever World Series. It would be cool. West Coast World Series, but I think Toronto winds up winning. Back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time for a Tuesday's BVB.